In this, we're going to talk about two things, why learn thematic reuse and why learn theory in general. Well, and we're going to use Yoda's theme as a basis here. There's a lot of clickbaity kind of YouTube videos up there that say you'll instantly know all about music with this one trick, or you don't need theory at all to create music. Well, that's true, you don't, but what's going to happen is if you become good at creation, learning a ton of theory will actually speed up processes, and that's what I'm going to show in this video, because it'll eliminate a lot of guesswork on the type of sound you're looking for. So here's Yoda's theme, and we'll just play through it really quick, the main theme part. It's actually very straightforward and simple. The only chord he uses in there that's actually, it's just plain Lydian mixed with major, because he does use a major too in this theme. So that's where the knowledge comes in, theoretical knowledge. And I'm just playing it in block chords, Lydian 1 and 2 over a pedal point, very common. Major 2, augmented 5 with a flat 7 that resolves to a C major with a major 7th. John Williams knows that augmented 5 chord resolves nicely to the 1 chord, which is something that may occur in the late Romantic era, for instance. So in the B section, what is he doing here? Thematic reuse and theoretical knowledge. He knows where to resolve that A minor chord. And he's doing this, literally. But in a situation where it does a little bit of modulation and exploring, and very functionally actually, thematic reuse mixed with theoretical knowledge. And this is the type of harmony you would find actually and mostly in the late Romantic era. It's not very far off from that. And I'm playing a very simplified version. The point is that once he had his theme, he knew exactly where to take it to pull on your heartstrings, because he knows what chords to go to pretty much. That's where theory comes in. Thematic reuse and theory. Once the initial theme is devised, that's the hardest part actually, is the theme, in my honest opinion. He knows exactly where to take it at that point, because you have something to work with then. But when you have this theoretical knowledge, it will speed up the process of knowing where to take it, because you know what kind of chords and what kind of chord changes are going to produce what kind of sound, what kind of movement to use, functional, non-functional, atonal, bitonal, whatever. You will know, if you already know how to use those things, this will speed up the process. If you're looking for a dark sound, you will know how to get that very quickly. So let's go ahead and just take this theme and work it into something. Let's say it's coming out of something very dark, but we're going to introduce the theme in there. Thematic reuse plus knowledge. Might do something like this. And then maybe note that you can lighten it up with the main theme. Partial. And then modulate if you need to. This is where the knowledge comes in. By the way, I was playing the darker part, the main theme in Phrygian. So the point is I'm not doing a lot of guesswork there, because I have the theoretical knowledge and then knowing how to thematically reuse things. So I'm going to take a theme that I just quickly wrote out, and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take a partial aspect of this melody, I'll just take this and rework it into a situation with this melody. So let's do something like this. It doesn't take long to do this if you have the theoretical knowledge. Main theme. Close out. Extension. Finality. Okay, so we're not going to go any farther than that. I've used a partial aspect of this melody with some knowledge. I took this half diminished chord, resolved it to the D, and then went to a half diminished right below D. And this is where functional harmony comes in. I know exactly where to resolve that chord, which results in like a half diminished resolution chain. This is actually very functional harmony. Let's take another chunk of this melody. I'll do something like this. And then we'll just go around the circle of fifths. That's theoretical knowledge. I'll just move it around. F, B flat, E flat, something like that. And then using some aspect of this melody, I can create an escape with knowledge. Thematic reuse, and then knowledge again to create a closeout to that sequence. And I just use that pattern and that pattern from the melodic aspect. Theoretically, we had this circle of fifth movement, very simple. F, B flat, E flat, A flat. I use that as a pivot chord to a half cadence in C minor. Again, knowing where to resolve that half diminished seventh chord, which is a functional move, 2-5-2-5 if I was in C minor. Let's use part of the melody in a minor situation. Something like that. And just have some variation. Pivot. And you might use something like this as a transition from your main melody. Just like we've been keep doing. You could use the same material over and over again. Using it in a pedal point situation. And then resolving it maybe to something very light. Resolve. Same thematic material. Thematic reuse. Practice going into a variation of it by maybe doing something dark first. This is where just plain experimentation comes in with your knowledge, with your themes. Thematic reuse, totally different chord sequence. Theoretical knowledge, thematic reuse. Let's do something with sus chords, which might give us a kind of pandiatonic effect. And just take a little part of our little thematic area and do something like this. Gives us a very serene and mellow sound. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. There's two things we really want to take away from this. Thematic reuse. You could use little aspects of your themes throughout an entire piece, as well as in other pieces, especially if you're doing it for the same project. And many ways to use that is with theoretical knowledge, like John Williams did with the second part of Yoda's theme. He was using very functional harmony to move that theme around and tug at your heartstrings because he knew exactly what chords to go to. That's theoretical knowledge. So they both go hand in hand, and I would actually encourage people to not listen to those people say, do you really need music theory? Don't listen to those people. It'll actually speed up the process, because it will take an enormous amount of guesswork out of everything. You know what kind of chords are going to produce a dramatic shift. You already know what scales are going to produce darkness. You already know what scales are going to be very tense. So maybe it is a good idea to learn theory all the way back from the beginning of time, I'd say all the way back from the Renaissance to current times, including jazz theory, jazz techniques, all that. Learn it all and practice your themes like we just did here and throw them into a bunch of different sonic situations that you learned through theoretical knowledge. For me personally, getting straight to the sound that I want is actually much better, in my honest opinion, than continuously searching for that sound and guessing. And an interesting point about theoretical knowledge is that the more you know, and the more that actually becomes ingrained in your ear, specific moves, and you hear them, and then so you start looking at notation and you start hearing everything without ever having to touch an instrument. Which, as an end result, you'll start hearing in your head the next part before you even started the next part. And you won't have to guess.